Welcome to Cooking with Bubbles. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Rodney. Let's get started.
Okay.
Ooh.
Pages off.
Ooh. My favorite sound on a Sunday, or any day for that matter.
For sure. Look at that. Beautiful bubbles.
I got the good stuff today. Our neighbors gave this to us when we took over food when they were all sick. It's been chilling for a while. I can't wait to taste it.
Yeah, nice.
Putting in some cranberry juice.
You do a little splash of that. Make it pretty.
Just look at that.
I'm ready.
Cheers.
Blink.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yummy.
It's been a while. Well, Lisa,
Nice.
Here we are doing what we love doing, and that's cooking together while drinking Prosecco. All you bubblers out there, feel free to pour your own glass of bubbles, whatever that looks like for you, and enjoy the show. We're wearing our fancy Cooking with Bubbles aprons, and we'll tell you how to get your very own later.
That sounds really good. So I'm in my town. You're traveling, right?
Yeah.
So you're in your motor, you're in your coach. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is a great way that we still get to spend time together doing what we love to do, like you said. And it doesn't matter really where you are. We can still make this connection and drink bubbles and cook together.
Absolutely. On that note, let's drink some bubbles.
Okay. Sounds like it. Good idea.
So Lisa, what are we making today?
So today we're going to make apple hand pies. So little, if you can just imagine, little pies, absolutely delicious. This is a recipe that Patrick found online. He goes, hey, how about something like this for Cooking with Bubbles? I absolutely love apple pie. We recently went to a farmer's market and got a homemade apple pie. And ever since then, I've been just kind of jonesing for having more. So him finding this recipe was very timely and right on. So excited to make these.
Well, that sounds good. Thank you, Patrick.
So basically,
let's drink some bubbles to that.
Yeah. Okay, more bubbles. So basically what we need for this, it's so simple. It's just 2 apples, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, a teaspoon of cornstarch, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And then you can use a ready-made pie crust, or like in our case, we're going to be using a homemade pie crust. So that's all that goes into it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, sounds delicious and easy. And just a tip, I understand the key to a really good apple pie is having an apple that will stand up under heat when it's baked. So you can use apples like Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Gala, Fuji, Brayburn, or McIntosh. Those are just a few of the ones that come up as being really great for baking. Other apples like Red Delicious, they really don't hold up very well under heat.
Right.
And just another tip, if you haven't already, get your dough out of the oven, or I'm sorry, out of the fridge, and put it on the counter so that it gets room temperature, because you really want your dough to be room temperature when you're working with it.
Yeah, you know what? That is a great tip. Thank you, Rodney.
Good. I'll drink bubbles to that.
Let's drink bubbles. Okay. Well, let's get started with this. It goes really fast. I'm going to go ahead and get my oven preheated, 375. So let me do that. Bake.
Me too.
375. Let's get that going.
Yep.
And to get started, what I did is I went ahead and pre-mixed all the dry ingredients that I talked about before. So the cinnamon and the flour and the nutmeg and sugar are all ready put together. And really from here, the next step is just to peel and cut our apples. I've got this new thing I'm going to show you, this little cool apple peeler. Yeah, it's pretty slick, this little gizmo. And you just attach it to this thing. It's got little prongs on the bottom and to make it go. Look at that.
That is slick. It took me forever to peel
When
my,
it's all done?
and I almost cut myself.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. So then when it's all done, all I have to do is just take it off and then, you know, trim off the extra pieces that didn't get cut by the apple peeler. That's it.
Yeah.
So pretty simple.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do now is just, now that it's all peeled, is we're gonna dice these up. I've got some already started. And we'll come back and show you what that looks like in just a little bit.
Yeah, and the key is to make them about 1/4 of an inch, which is for me smaller than I normally cut apples for like a apple crisp or something. So we'll go ahead and get that done, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, welcome back. So we got our apples all chopped, and now we're going to take the dry ingredients that we mentioned at the beginning of the show, which is flour, cornstarch, sugar, cinnamon, salt, and if you're putting it in, which I'm not, nutmeg. And I just used a whisk together. Lisa knows how much I hate nutmeg. And so we're just going to sprinkle this over the apples that are chopped up, and we're going to mix that up, and then we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to work on our dough.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I notice as we're mixing it together, you know, it really is important to get a thorough mixture because this is going to be the ingredient for every single pie. So you don't want a bunch of dry pieces left in the bottom of your pan. So do a really good job mixing this up so everything comes together. No crumbs left in the bottom.
You mentioned that we each use 2 apples, but I think the recipe actually calls for 2 cups of chopped apples. So you can either go by you can go by cups, but this is probably a little bit more than that. But it's soaking up these dry ingredients really nicely.
Absolutely, and I end up using Honeycrisp because that's the kind of apple that we like. You mentioned to me that you were going to use something different. What was that?
I use Granny Smith's. I used to use Fuji. Fuji's a place, right? Fuji or but lately I've gotten into using Granny Smith for pies just because they hold up so well to heat of baking, and they have a little bit of tartness that goes really well with the cinnamon and sugar that you put on them when you bake. Cool.
Excellent. Now this is thoroughly mixed. Looks really, really good.
Yeah. Take a quick picture of that, and then we're going to set that to the side.
I think I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see the action on the countertop then next.
Awesome.
If I can get this turned around for you. Because our next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to roll out our dough, right?
We are. And so before we do that, before we get our hands dirty, let's drink some bubbles.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. Yum, yum.
Actually, that's an excellent idea.
Of course it is.
So I've already got my parchment lined cookie sheet ready to go. So I'll be able to just immediately put these on there. But I'm going to sprinkle my counter surface with some flour. This is where I'm going to roll out all of the dough. So get that nice and covered. And I'm using a homemade dough like you are, Rodney.
Mm-hmm. That we will never make.
If you don't have a homemade dough, I know if you can in a pinch, you can certainly buy one of the pre-made ones in the package. But you know why, right?
My grandmother just rolled up the grave when you said that.
Yeah, well, I absolutely love homemade pie dough. This one that we're using today is one that is using lard.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get this all rolled out. And we're also going to be using a cookie cutter. I'm using a cookie cutter that's a 4-inch round.
Yep.
And once I get it into the round, then I'll probably thin it out even more so that I can get like at least a 5-inch square or 5-inch circle.
Yeah, and a 4-inch cookie cutter is actually pretty unique. Not everybody has one. So you can use, I'm using a coffee mug that I measured and it's 4 inches. So, you know, if you got a big glass, big mouth coffee mug, something, you can use that to press it out. And it'll work just fine, just the same.
Yeah, that's good. Well, let me go ahead and start cutting some of these into circles. Circle done. We'll get a couple of these cut. Boy, I'm not cutting a very good job there. There you go. That's better. And this will make probably like 5 or 6 hand pies. I guess all depends on how much dough you're starting with.
Yep.
But I'll roll out the rest of this as well.
So then you said after we cut it, we
Just-
want to roll it out a little bit more.
Yeah, so now that I've got my 4-inch circle, I can easily roll it out. Really, it doesn't matter what shape you do, as long as you can have a surface that you can add your pie filling to. Like, look at this oblong guy. He'll work. So from here, I'm going to take my apple pie mixture, probably about 2 tablespoons worth of mixture. Get it? I'm going to fold it over.
You put that in the middle.
Yeah, this one is kind of it's kind of a cookie shape. But then I'm going to take it and use a fork and crimp the edges.
You guys see what I'm doing here?
And then I'll vent it. I'll poke some holes in it. That's going to be important so that the steam releases out of the pie as it's made. So that's sort of what that looks like. Let me go back over here. Just a couple of holes vented. And that's it. We're going to eventually put these in the oven, but you're going to do an egg wash too, right?
Yeah. So I just want to take a picture of this because it's a little funky looking, but you know what? It's going to be delicious.
I know. You know what? That's the cool thing about hand pies. They don't have to follow any set standard for shape. You could do triangles, you could do squares, fold it in half. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The key is getting that goodness in there.
Yes.
When I made these the first time when Patrick first found the recipe, I did overstuff them a little bit. So I might have had some stuff oozing out, but it was still good.
Yeah, look at that.
And then vent it, a couple of pokes.
Right. All right.
So why don't we get the rest of these rolled out and filled, and then we'll come back and show you what's next.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, not a bad looking pan of hand pies, huh? I got 6 out of mine. It's on my small little cookie sheet. Looks like you got 7.
Yes.
So we're just gonna do a light egg wash. And so I just took 1 egg and I beat it up a little bit, and I'm just using a brush to spread it on. That'll make the pies come out nice and golden brown and make them really, really pretty. So once we get this final egg wash put on, we're going to put them in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. And while they're in, we're going to start making our glaze.
Ooh, sounds good.
Yes. All right. So mine are going in the oven behind me.
All right. Mine too.
Since I'm in my RV, I'm using my toaster oven because the convection oven in the microwave is really loud. All right.
Set the timer for 25 minutes.
Yep.
I'm going to do 20, just like I do with a lot of recipes. I'm just going to do the lower amount, and that way I can check on it and decide if it needs to have more beyond that.
Oh.
So what's next?
So now we're going to make the glaze. And the glaze is
Okay.
3 simple ingredients. It's a cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk or water, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And for my prep, I took the vanilla and milk and I put it together in a microwave safe bowl, and I just heated it up just a little bit just to get it, fairly room temperature, maybe a little bit warmer. And now I'm going to add in powdered sugar, which is a cup. And we're going to stir that up and Maybe she does a whisk.
Yeah, this looks good.
This is
Still
nice,
fairly liquidy.
a nice little sugary glaze on top. And the measurements are not exact. So you might have to add a little bit more milk or water, or you might have to add a little bit more powdered sugar, just depending on, how it looks to you. But want it to be a little bit liquidy so that we can drizzle it over the pies when they come out. And well, it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is great. It's got a nice texture, nice consistency. I'm going to continue to stir it a little bit more, make sure there are no lumps in there.
Yeah, mine looks really smooth.
And that's really all you have to do. I mean, as far as getting it ready, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's easy. So now we just have to wait for our pies to finish up, and then we can get them glazed and dig into them and see how they taste.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wait.
The pies are done and they smell amazing.
Oh,
So good.
yes, they do. Well, we've already pictures, so you can see the pictures on Facebook. And we've let them cool for about 15 minutes or so. We don't want the glaze to run too much. So we've warmed up our glaze again. We made it earlier, and we're now going to just drizzle it on top, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do this? Just spoon a little
Just
bit.
use a spoon and tilt the spoon downward and put on as much as you like. I know Patrick, this is his pie, his pie find. He's going to want his pretty covered in icing.
I don't know if Dennis is going to put glaze, but I'm not going to do all of them. But the one I'm eating, I'm definitely putting glaze on. Look at that.
Looks so good. I guess if it was smaller too, you could probably turn it over and dip it down inside the glaze. This looks good. I'm going to take a picture of this. I think it looks fantastic.
I agree. I can't wait to.
Yum. So we're ready to give these things a try?
Let's taste.
Okay, we're going to taste it.
Holding it in my hand because it's a hand pie.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
So good. Look at that. Look at the inside of that. Looks delicious. Little glaze on top.
Oh my goodness. So good. We need some bubbles.
Oh my goodness. Bubbles and apple pie. Why not?
Oh, heck yeah.
So good.
For sure. Well, Lisa, we've done it again.
Fantastic.
Well, we want to thank our virtual audience for joining today. Thank you so much for watching Cooking with Bubbles. We also want to thank our sponsor, Cork Tray, who makes really wonderful cork and wood trivets that we use to protect our countertops. So thank you so much. And we want to please ask you to remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and become a bubbler at cookingwithbubbles.com. Once you've done that, click on the bell symbol after you subscribe so that you'll get alerts whenever we post new episodes. And also remember to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/cookingwithbubbles.
Please.
Where we put all of our recipes and all the pictures that we take along the way as we're cooking.
That sounds fantastic. We mentioned earlier, we'd let you know how you could get your own Cooking with Bubbles apron. Super simple. Just send us an email. We'll tell you how to get it. They come in blue, red, black, or white. We'll tell you about the cost and shipping and all that kind of good stuff. And also, if you have recipes that you'd like to see us make on Cooking with Bubbles, send them to our email as well. Or if you have made any of the items that we have featured here on Cooking with Bubbles, send us some photos. We'd love to see how they turned out for you as well. Our email address is cookingwithbubbles@yahoo.com. Well, I think that's it. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing the recipe with us. They turned out absolutely delicious. And that takes care of it for us today. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Rodney. See you next time, bubblers.
Bye.